I thought I knew my family until the day my mother passed away. My sister smiled as she claimed everything, every memory, every heirloom, acting like she had the right to take it all. I could not stop her. I could not speak. I felt powerless. Then I discovered a hidden camera, and what it revealed made my heart freeze. Every lie, every betrayal, every secret my family tried to hide was captured in plain sight. If you have ever trusted someone you loved, wait until you see what happens next. Before we start, I want to know where you are watching from. Please drop a comment and tell me your state. My name is Jessica, and I never imagined that one day my family would betray me in the worst possible way. After my mother passed, I felt numb. The house was quiet except for the occasional sound of my sister walking through the rooms she already claimed as hers. She smiled at everyone as if nothing had happened, acting like the grief belonged to her alone. I wanted to speak, to confront her, but every time I opened my mouth, the words froze. I could not believe the woman I grew up with, the person I trusted more than anyone else, would do this. It started with small things. She moved boxes of my mother's belongings without asking. She claimed furniture that had been in our family for generations. I watched her take pieces of jewelry, photo albums, and even letters that my mother had written. Every item she touched was carefully documented in her mind, as if she had been waiting for this day her entire life. I questioned myself. I asked myself if I was imagining it. But then I noticed receipts and messages that confirmed everything. The night after the funeral, I could not sleep. The house felt wrong, like it belonged to someone else. That was when I found the hidden camera. It was small, tucked behind a plant in the living room. I knew immediately it was not my mother's. My sister never mentioned it. My heart pounded as I realized what I was about to see. I sat down with my laptop and opened the footage. The first video showed her taking money from my mother's safe, counting it, and smiling as if it was the easiest thing in the world. The next clip showed her sneaking documents into her bag, papers that proved she had been planning this for months, maybe even years. I could not breathe. I felt anger, sadness, and disbelief all at once. My mother trusted both of us, and my sister had betrayed her in the cruelest way possible. Every scene on that camera revealed a secret side of her, a side that I had never seen before. I wanted to confront her, to yell, to demand answers, but I realized that I needed proof, undeniable proof that would expose her completely. I stayed up all night watching the footage, each clip more shocking than the last. It became clear that this was not just about inheritance or money. It was about control, about making me feel powerless while she gained everything. I knew then that I could not let her win. I had to plan carefully, to use what I had discovered to reclaim what was taken and to show her that betrayal always has consequences. I could feel a fire inside me, a determination that I had never felt before. The next morning, I woke with a plan forming in my mind. I could not act recklessly. Every move had to be precise because my sister was clever, manipulative, and confident that no one could stop her. I told myself to stay calm, to observe, and to gather more evidence. The hidden camera had already revealed so much, but I needed more. Proof that would make it impossible for anyone to doubt what she had done. I decided to check every room, every drawer, every cabinet. I moved slowly, pretending to look for small things, while secretly noting anything that seemed out of place. As I examined the study, I found a stack of envelopes that caught my attention. They were all addressed to my sister but had my mother's handwriting on them. I opened one carefully and discovered letters that revealed plans my sister had made long before my mother passed. She had been plotting how to take control of everything, how to ensure that I would have no say. Each word on those letters burned in my mind. I realized that her betrayal was calculated, cold, and methodical. My anger surged, but I forced myself to stay composed. This was not the time to act on emotion. I remembered that my mother had always trusted me to keep her safe. That trust weighed heavily on me now. I could not let it be violated any further. I knew that I had to find a way to confront my sister without alerting her, to make her realize that I knew everything. I needed a strategy, a way to expose her without giving her the chance to destroy the evidence. I spent the entire afternoon going through receipts, messages, and bank statements. Each discovery revealed a new layer of her deception. Money transferred in secret, items sold online, gifts that were never given but taken for herself. The depth of her betrayal was overwhelming. By evening, I had assembled a digital timeline of her actions. Each piece of evidence fit together like a puzzle, showing a clear picture of greed and manipulation. I felt a mixture of satisfaction and dread. Satisfaction because finally, I had undeniable proof. Dread because I knew the confrontation could be explosive, and I had no idea how she would react when everything came to light. I could feel my pulse quicken as I imagined her face, the denial, the excuses, the anger. I realized that I needed help, but not the kind that would compromise the plan. I contacted a family lawyer I trusted, explaining the situation carefully without revealing too much. The lawyer understood immediately and offered guidance on how to secure the evidence and prepare for a confrontation that could not be ignored. As I hung up the phone, a strange calm washed over me. I felt a shift in power. For the first time, I believed that I could reclaim what was taken and protect my mother's memory. I was no longer powerless. I was ready to act, but I knew that patience was my greatest weapon. That night, I watched the hidden camera footage again. Every detail burned into my memory. Each movement, each smile, each theft was a reminder that the truth was on my side. I whispered to myself that justice would come, and when it did, my sister would have no choice but to face the consequences. I felt a determination so strong it made my hands shake. This was no longer about revenge alone. This was about reclaiming my family, my inheritance, and my dignity. The following morning, I woke with a sense of purpose I had never felt before. I knew that the day of confrontation was near. I could not wait any longer, but I also knew that rushing in without preparation could ruin everything. I reviewed the evidence one more time, watching the hidden camera footage carefully. Every motion, every stolen item, every deceitful smile my sister had given me was etched into my memory. I could feel my heart pounding, a mixture of fear and anticipation. I reminded myself that I was not doing this out of anger alone. I was seeking justice, reclaiming what had been stolen, and honoring my mother's memory. I decided to confront her in the living room, the place where she had taken so much, where the camera had captured every lie. I called her casually, pretending to ask her to help me organize some of our mother's belongings. She agreed immediately, smiling over the phone, completely unaware that I had uncovered every secret she had tried to hide. I hung up and positioned my laptop so that the camera footage could play, ready to reveal the truth. I felt a strange mixture of nervousness and exhilaration. The moment of exposure was almost here. When my sister arrived, she walked in with her usual confidence, carrying a sense of ownership that had always made me uneasy. She did not notice the laptop or the evidence displayed on the screen. I greeted her politely, my voice calm, steady, but firm. I asked her to sit, and she obliged, curiosity flickering across her face. I told her that I had something to show her, something that would explain everything I had discovered. Her smile faded slightly, replaced by a subtle tension that she could not hide. I knew then that she sensed something was wrong, but she did not know the extent of what I had uncovered. I played the first clip from the hidden camera. Her hands trembled slightly as she recognized herself on the screen, taking money from my mother's safe, counting it meticulously, and hiding documents. I watched her expression closely. She froze, a mixture of shock and disbelief crossing her face. I continued to play each video, each one revealing more of her calculated deception, each one making her face pale. I could see the realization hitting her that she had been caught. She tried to explain, to justify, to make excuses, but I did not allow her words to interrupt the evidence. Every lie she had spun unraveled in front of my eyes. I felt a surge of power as I watched the truth crush the illusion she had maintained for years. The woman I once trusted, the person I thought I knew, was exposed completely. She looked at me with a mixture of fear, regret, and anger, realizing that I was no longer powerless. I spoke calmly, reminding her that this was not about revenge alone. It was about honesty, justice, and reclaiming what had been stolen. I could see her understanding slowly sinking in, that the consequences of betrayal were finally catching up with her. After the confrontation, I realized that what I had uncovered was only the beginning. The hidden camera had revealed her thefts, but there were more secrets that I had not yet discovered. I felt a strange mixture of anticipation and dread as I began searching the house again, more carefully this time. Every drawer, every cabinet, and even the attic became a source of potential revelations. My hands trembled slightly as I opened a locked box in my mother's closet. Inside, I found letters, photographs, and documents that no one had ever seen before. Each item told a story, a hidden truth that would change everything I thought I knew about my family. One letter in particular caught my attention. It was addressed to me, written by my mother weeks before she passed. Her handwriting was delicate but firm. She warned me that not everyone who smiled at me could be trusted, and that my sister had plans to claim everything. My heart pounded as I read each line. My mother had suspected this betrayal but had trusted me to protect the family. I realized that my mother had left a roadmap, a way to expose the truth and reclaim what was rightfully mine. Tears welled up in my eyes, but they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of determination and clarity. Then I found a photograph that made me freeze. It showed my sister meeting someone outside the house in secret, passing a small envelope. I did not know what was inside, but I sensed immediately that it was important. I remembered seeing her act nervous that same afternoon, and now it made sense. She had an accomplice, someone helping her execute this betrayal. My mind raced. I had to find out who it was and what their role had been. This was no longer a private family conflict. It had expanded into something more dangerous, and I needed to be careful. I spent hours piecing together the timeline. Every receipt, every letter, every photograph fit into a puzzle that revealed a hidden network of deceit. My sister had not only taken the inheritance and valuables, but had also manipulated friends and extended family to support her lies. I felt a surge of power as I realized that I now had the knowledge to dismantle everything she had built. I was no longer a passive observer. I had become a strategist, a guardian of truth, and a force that could no longer be ignored. By the end of the night, I knew that the final revelation would be the most shocking of all. I had uncovered evidence of financial manipulation, secret communications, and a hidden plan to erase me from the family entirely. The truth was explosive, and I knew that when it came to light, nothing would ever be the same. I sat quietly, reviewing each piece of evidence, my mind sharp and focused. I could feel the tension building, the moment approaching when every secret would be exposed. This was the turning point. My sister's world was about to unravel, and I was the one holding the key. The morning sun streamed through the living room windows, but I felt a tension in the air that was heavier than any shadow. I had gathered all the evidence, organized every document, every photograph, every video clip. My sister had no idea that I was ready to reveal everything. I called her one last time, calmly, asking her to come over to discuss family matters. She arrived as confident as ever, still unaware that her carefully constructed world was about to collapse completely. I could see the subtle change in her expression when she noticed the laptop on the table, the files neatly organized beside it. I started slowly, showing her the hidden camera footage once again. Her hands trembled slightly as she realized the full extent of her betrayal. I watched as her expression shifted from disbelief to fear. Then, I presented the letters from my mother, written weeks before her passing. Each line exposed her calculated plan, her manipulation, and her disregard for everything our mother had cherished. I could see the shock in her eyes, the understanding that there was no excuse for her actions. I spoke calmly, reminding her that this was not just about objects or money. This was about honesty, respect, and justice. Then came the photographs, the evidence of secret meetings and exchanges. I asked her to explain, but she could not. The truth was undeniable. Every lie she had told, every manipulation she had planned, every betrayal she had committed was now visible and impossible to deny. I felt a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. Satisfaction because the truth was finally clear. Sadness because someone I loved had chosen greed and deception over family. Yet, I could not dwell on that sadness. I had to complete this journey, to reclaim what had been stolen and to restore my family's integrity. I guided her through the timeline, showing how every action had been mapped and recorded. Each transaction, each stolen item, each hidden plan fit together like a puzzle, and the picture was devastating. She looked at me, silent, defeated, realizing that her power was gone. I reminded her that this was a turning point, not just for her, but for me. I had learned to trust my instincts, to protect myself, and to act with strategy and courage. I was no longer powerless. I was the guardian of our family's legacy, and the one who would ensure that betrayal could not go unpunished. Finally, I spoke of the future. I told her that our mother's memory would be honored, that everything stolen would be returned, and that trust, once broken, could be rebuilt only with truth. She listened quietly, with the weight of guilt pressing on her. I felt a calm satisfaction, knowing that justice had been restored. I had faced betrayal, uncovered the deepest secrets, and emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. The house was quiet again, but now it was filled with a sense of closure, clarity, and power. I had reclaimed my family, my inheritance, and my dignity. And for the first time since my mother passed, I felt at peace.